Today I'm very excited to be presenting this new Rampone Cazzani Alto Saxophone, the Solista. And in this case, Rampone and Cazzani are making reference to their successful Solista model from the 1920s. Now the overall intention here is to appeal to a little bit more of a classical audience, if you like. However, to quote the Rampone owner, Claudio Zola, Rampone players who know our manufacturing philosophy cannot expect a one-dimensional saxophone able to play one style of music only. And with regard to this point that he made, I couldn't really agree with him more, but I'm going to tell you more about this later. First of all, let's go through some of the features of the saxophone. So the main thing to tell you is that the entire body, the crook, the body, the bow, and the bell is made from solid copper. So no element of brass at all, no zinc in there, it's just pure copper. And on top of that, it's beautifully gold plated in a thick Rampone Cazzani gold plating. So this is a lot of the expense of the model, first and foremost. The keys are made from brass, but also gold plated, so they have the same aesthetic as the body. As you can see, it's got a very uniform look to it. And in a nice added touch, Rampone make reference to the copper material by copper plating 5 components on the outside of the saxophone. I'll see if I can just cycle the saxophone to the camera lens here so you can see some of them. We've got this guard here with this copper finish. We've got this guard down here, this guard on the back here. If I turn it around, you can see this guard here is copper plated. So you get this slight two-tone effect. It's sort of a way of pointing to the underlying material beneath the gold plating, if you like. And there's a nice finishing touch to this beautiful looking saxophone. They've got this Art Deco engraving here on the back, very simplistic and typical sort of Rampone style engraving there. And then finally, a very important feature of this saxophone is the neck. It may look like a regular neck to you and I, but they've actually changed the internal bore dimensions of this neck, allowing a faster airflow to come through the instrument. And it really affects the performance of the instrument. So they've not actually changed the bore dimensions of the main instrument, just the neck. But of course, this is the business end of the sound, so it has a significant effect on the playability of the instrument. So bringing this into the performance element, for me, the combination of this new neck and then the materials that it's made from, so the gold plating on top of the copper, really makes this sax super responsive for my money. And I can see why it's being marketed a little bit more as a classical model. But my feeling, again, like Claudio said, and as I mentioned in my introduction, a good saxophone should really be flexible. And I really think they've hit the nail on the head with this saxophone in that respect. So this kind of reduced resistance in the sound, for me, gives me, as a sort of more of a jazz kind of pop player, really sort of warms the sax a little bit more to me, because although I love Rampone saxes in general, the sound is wonderful. For me, sometimes I'm looking for a little bit less resistance, and then with this instrument, I feel they've really just got that exquisitely. So in terms of describing the sound, if you like, for me it's very smooth, it's very deep, sort of reminiscent of that typical Rampone sound, but with a sort of added sweetness, so really beautiful. I also find the mechanism incredibly responsive. We didn't have to do too much tech work to this in the workshop, just came straight out the box, and for me it sort of plays like butter. I absolutely love it. I've just got one small little gripe. For me personally, I find there's a little bit of a drop off here between the B and the bis key, perhaps 3 or 4 mils. I really like that quite flush. There's a little bit of a drop off there. You can still play it, but it just takes a little bit of getting used to. Now, I suppose finally we should talk about the high price tag. It's priced a bit more expensive than most of the sort of average Rampones, your gold and your bronze and silver models and all the rest of it. But I think it can easily be justified by the high-level materials that this instrument's made from and its wonderful playability that I've mentioned, but most importantly, it's absolutely beautiful sound. So for me, this sax should really be regarded in the highest of categories. And just a final thought from Claudio, the owner of Rampone. He sent me an email yesterday when I was just quizzing him on the sax for a little bit, and I asked him if he could describe the sax for me. And in his words, he describes his Two Voices saxophones, which is the other elite saxophone that they produce, as being similar to caviar, truffles and oysters, whereas he sees the Solista as more like top quality food with top quality tomatoes, probably Italian, and with mozzarella, because everybody likes this. So I hope you'll love the sax like I do.